The new agenda is here, Steelers Nation. Diana Rossini reports today that the Los Angeles Rams are actively looking to trade former All-Pro wide receiver Cooper Kupp, and they are currently calling other teams. They're not the ones getting the calls. They are the ones making the calls, trying to unload Cooper Kupp before the trade deadline this year. Now, before we break it down on whether or not the Steelers should go out and pursue Cooper Kupp in a trade and what it will cost them to go out and get him, go ahead and click that subscribe button right now, because if something happens here, if Omar Khan pulls this off and brings Cooper Kupp to the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're going to be going live here on the show and we're going to be partying it up. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button. Join our family of almost 65,000 Yinzers already subscribed to the channel. So if you guys want breaking news action here with the trade deadline just 2 weeks away, make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now. So here is the report from Diana Rossini from The Athletic saying the Rams have called multiple teams about trading former Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp, sources tell Mike Silver and Jordan Rodriguez. And me. The Rams have indicated a willingness to take on some of the 2024 salary and are seeking a second-round pick. So listen, man, I think that Pittsburgh needs to send the full court press here, man. This is a team that has missed out on Brandon Ayuk. They were, to quote Filipponi, at the goal line with Brandon Ayuk, and then he ends up signing that extension with San Francisco. Essentially, they gave him a choice. You can either sign the extension or go to Pittsburgh. He chose San Francisco. They were that close to getting him. And then with Davante Adams, it seemed like the Steelers were interested, but it seemed like Davante Adams wasn't interested in reworking a long-term contract to be here in Pittsburgh, and the Steelers weren't willing to give up a day 2 draft pick for a player that was essentially a 10-game rental, so that kind of fell through. But now this is an opportunity here, man, to get a player in Cooper Kupp who is still a high-level separator. There's tons of Steelers fans that still complain about this team not having enough separators on the offense, especially at the wide receiver position. Cooper Kupp could certainly bring a level of separation that nobody else on this offense can bring and really give Russell Wilson a great safety blanket in this offense. Now, coming up here, I'm going to tell you why I think the Pittsburgh Steelers should pursue Cooper Kupp and why he can take this Steelers offense to a whole nother level if they can pull off this trade. But before we get into the rest of today's show, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. And guys, whenever I go on a trip, I never know what to pack in terms of personal hygiene products. Do I bring a tiny shampoo, face wash, and body wash? Do I pour my shampoo into a tiny travel-sized bottle? Where do I even get those? We all have that struggle, guys, and our friends at Mando Whole Body Deodorant have come up with the perfect solution. Simplify your travel today with Mando's 4-in-1 acidified cleansing bar. It's a 5-ounce bar that does the work of a shampoo, face wash, body wash, and deodorant. You can also use it to create a rich shaving lather for your on-the-go shaving needs. So technically, it's a 5-in-1. What's even better is that it's clinically proven to control odor for 24 hours. Mando's 4-in-1 acidified cleansing bar is formulated with a gentle alpha hydroxy acid that stops odor at the source. Regular soap can't do that because the pH level is too high, and the last thing you guys need is too much pH in your life. The new product is going to simplify your hygiene routine, and it's the only thing you really need to pack in terms of personal hygiene whenever you travel. You can also get it in 3 cologne-quality scents, including Mount Fuji, Pro Sport, and my personal favorite, Bourbon Leather. Take advantage of Mando's special offer for just Steelers Talk listeners, which gives new customers $5 off their best-selling starter pack with code CHAT at shopmando.com. And guys, I absolutely love their travel product here where you just take it. That's really the only thing that you need to bring. You don't have to pack a bunch of different bottles of shampoo and face wash and body wash. Plus, when it comes to the body wash here at Mando, it's absolutely fantastic, man. I have a big bottle of the Bourbon Leather body wash at home. I wear it all the time. And honestly, guys, where Mando's really helped me is because, I always keep my stink under control. But, there's lots of men here at Chat Sports that work in these offices. And ever since we partnered with Mando, this office has smelled a whole lot better. I can tell you that right now. So Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like you can get the body wash I just mentioned or their award-winning deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Luckily, I have a discount code to help get you hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market today. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. So use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. A big thank you to Mando Whole Body Deodorant for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. So let's talk about Cooper Kupp here, man, what he could potentially bring to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is 31 years old, still has a great frame, man, 6'2", 207 pounds, so he's certainly got the size to play in an Arthur Smith offense. He still has 3 years left on his current contract, all right? So if you make a move here, you don't have to rework his contract like it was with Davante Adams. If you trade for him, he's going to be on your roster. He's going to be a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers for 3 seasons at least, okay? So then, and also, man, he's known as one of the best route runners and run blockers in the NFL. What do the Steelers need right now? They need somebody that's a route runner that can create separation and get open, and they need somebody that can run block. And Cooper Kupp does those two things better than just about anybody in the National Football League. And you take a look at his remaining cap hits here in 2024, it's $15 million, but that's prorated. So depending on when the Steelers trade for him, he's already made a portion of that $15 million from the Los Angeles Rams this year. So every week you wait to get Cooper Kupp before the deadline, that number gets smaller and smaller. Then in 2025, it is a $20 million cap hit, but for a guy of this caliber, that's actually not that bad if you're being honest. And then 2026, it's about $20 million as well, just slightly less than that. So honestly, man, for a guy that can really give you exactly what you need, I think that this is absolutely worth it for the Pittsburgh Steelers because he is an ideal fit for Arthur Smith's offense. And honestly, if you could create a wide receiver in a lab, that would be a perfect fit for what the Steelers need on their offense right now. It would be Cooper Kupp. Or you take a look at my scouting report. He's got excellent size. The run blocking is among, if not the best in the National Football League. He's that good of a run blocker. The run after catch ability is well known with Cooper Kupp. This guy is so good after the catch, so dynamic. And then the route running is special, gets open all the time. Even against double coverage, he can get open, which is something extremely rare among even number one receivers. And he's got extremely reliable hands, and he's super tough over the middle of the field, can catch fades in the red zone, all this great stuff. So Cooper Kupp is a fantastic receiver overall. He's a legit number one receiver, but he does have some injury history that we'll get into later in today's show that is a concern. You take a look at his numbers over the last several seasons, and you take a look at that 2021 season. Absolutely ridiculous, folks. 145 catches, almost 2,000 yards. All right, the average, over 13 yards per catch for somebody getting that many targets his way, and then adding 16 touchdowns on top of that. Oh, yeah, he won Offensive Player of the Year, and oh, yeah, he won Super Bowl MVP after catching a game-winning touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. It's the greatest singular season for a receiver in NFL history, and he's dealt with some injuries in the years after that, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. Just like, the people in the comment section, I can already hear you. Jack, he's 31 years old, and he's not going to be able to finish this season. He's too injury prone. Why would we trade a day 2 draft pick for this guy? And listen, man, I hear you, because the injury history is absolutely there, and you have to acknowledge it, okay? This season, he's been dealing with an ankle sprain. He's just getting back. He just started being a full participant in practice just this week. Then last year, he had a hamstring strain and a neck and kind of a minor ankle sprain as well. Missed games due to both of those. Then he got into 2022. He had another ankle sprain. So, ankle sprains are certainly something that has been on his history, and it's definitely something that, adds a little bit of element of a risk here when it comes to Cooper Kupp. But also, he's had some knee issues as well. He had a knee bruise in 2021, but obviously that didn't affect his season too much. And then also in 2018, he had an ACL tear, but that was all the way back in 2018. And obviously he's had great seasons after that, so I'm not too worried about that one in particular. The big concern is the ankle that has been getting injured consistently over the last 3 seasons. And listen, man, I understand the injury concerns. I understand that he's 31. I understand why people maybe don't want to spend a day 2 draft pick on a guy that is 31 and does have injury concerns. He's been injured this season. But with that said, okay, we know that the Pittsburgh Steelers need to make a move at the wide receiver position. As we talked about earlier in today's show, you could not build a better fit for what the Pittsburgh Steelers need on their offense at the wide receiver position in a lab other than Cooper Kupp. I mean, he is perfect from a skill set perspective for this offense, okay? And eventually, if you're going to really put your money where your mouth is here, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you want to get Cam Hayward a ring, you want to get TJ Watt a ring, you want to get Minkah Fitzpatrick a ring, you want to get Russell Wilson a ring, you want to get a ring for this current group and this current era of Pittsburgh Steelers players, you got to take a swing. And I think Cooper Kupp is the exact type of guy that you make that swing for, because if he is healthy, and if you get him and he is healthy for the rest of the season heading into the postseason, Pittsburgh's going to have a chance here to be a legit title contender. We know how good this defense is. The run game is just getting going with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren really starting to hit their stride. Russell Wilson wasn't a perfect game last week against the Jets, but man, he's given these wide receivers opportunities to make plays. And if you add a high-level separator like Cooper Kupp to this offense, that adds a whole nother level of danger for opposing defenses that they have to worry about. All right, so this is absolutely a move that I am willing to make. Plus, the injury history that we talked about earlier likely lowers the price tag for Cooper Kupp. So honestly, I think the Steelers could potentially even land him for something less than a second-round pick. So I don't think you necessarily have to give up super, super high draft capital to get Cooper Kupp on your football team. And by the way, guys, I would much rather have Cooper Kupp on my football team in January than to have him go to the Kansas City Chiefs, because right now the Chiefs are the betting favorites to land Cooper Kupp right now. And listen, man, we have to play them on Christmas Day, and you might have to play them in the postseason. I'd much rather have him in black and gold instead of red and white, okay? So that's another big reason why personally I am pulling the trigger on this. And honestly, like, even if it gets up to a second-round pick, if LA is like Kansas City's offered us a second, you either have to give us your second-round pick or we're trading him to Kansas City. Personally, I'm taking that, and I'm trading I'm trading that second-round pick for Cooper Kupp because I want to make a move to try to win a title now. I think this organization knows that, they're done going to the playoffs and losing playoff games. They're trying to push their chips into the center of the table. So personally, I'm going to make this move and I'm going to make this deal, and I'm not going to let him go to the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you want to see the Steelers make a trade for a receiver, even if you don't want Cooper Kupp, if you want the Steelers to add a receiver before the deadline this year, make sure you click that thumbs up icon and help today's show. So we talked about Cooper Kupp today. We talked about why I think the Steelers need to go get him. So what is it going to cost the Steelers to go out and get him on their football team? Now, I mentioned that I would personally be willing, if I absolutely needed to trade a second-round pick for him. I think he would be that big of an addition for the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, I think that the Steelers can maybe get him for slightly less than that. I think that a good baseline here to look at is the Davante Adams trade that was executed, just days ago. You look at the trade for Davante Adams here. It was a conditional third-round pick. If the Jets make the AFC Championship or Davante is a first-team All-Pro, second-team All-Pro, it turns into a second-round pick. So he has to meet certain conditions for it to go from a third-round pick to a second-round pick. And honestly, man, I think that that's very reasonable. A very reasonable thing for the Steelers to do here in a potential trade for Kupp, because, if the Steelers make an AFC Championship game, if Kupp is a first or second team All-Pro, if you have similar conditions to the Davante Adams trade, honestly, if any of those things happen, this trade is more than worth a second-round pick, all right? But because of the injury history, all these different things in the risk involved with trading for Cooper, I understand why maybe Omar Khan is like, we don't want to give up a second-round pick straight up, all right? So maybe it's a third-round pick. If the Steelers meet certain conditions, then it upgrades to a second-round pick. Honestly, I think this would be a more than fair offer to the Los Angeles Rams, but let me know down there in the comments section, would you accept this deal if you were Steelers GM Omar Khan? I am spamming A if I were you in the comments section, but let me know what you guys are thinking. Give me an A for accept or D for decline. So, what about Mike Williams, okay? Because we've talked about Mike Williams quite a bit on this show for the past 2 weeks, talking about how the Steelers are interested in potentially trading for him, all these different things. But now that the Rams are actively shopping Cooper Kupp, do the Steelers hold off on going and getting Mike Williams? And personally, what I would do is I would hold off on this, all right? Because, and I even said before, personally, I'd rather go out and get DeAndre Hopkins compared to Mike Williams, all right? So, I think that Mike is somebody that the Steelers like. I'm a poet and I don't even know it up here. But Cooper Kupp, I think, is just the more type of style receiver that the Steelers need, right? They already have the big body X-receiver in George Pickens for Russell Wilson to throw the ball down the field to. If they can add a high-level separator like Cooper Kupp, who still has the size to run block, the versatility to line up outside in the slot or even in the backfield, I think that would be absolutely valuable to this football team a little bit more than even a DeAndre Hopkins, even a Mike Williams. So if I'm them, I'm holding off here, and I'm trying to get Cooper Kupp on this football team. If you can't land him, if they trade him to the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm perfectly fine if they end up going to Mike Williams or DeAndre Hopkins or somebody else before the deadline. All I care about is that this team makes a move for a receiver before the deadline passes. Oh, my goodness. So producer Coop said that I wasn't allowed to see this photo. So let's see what this is. A wide receiver rumored to be traded. Steelers have made the call. The deal is at the goal line. Wide receiver doesn't come to Pittsburgh. So listen, man, I am ready to get hurt again. This is hopefully the third time is going to be the charm here. First it was Ayuk. Then it was Devontae Adams. Now it's Cooper Kupp. Who knows if it's actually going to happen or not here, man, but it sure would be a big-time move for the con artist to land Cooper Kupp here in Pittsburgh. So hopefully it happens here, guys. Make sure you click that subscribe button, because if it does happen, we're going to be going live right here on the channel. We're going to be partying it up. So until that happens, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And until then, here we go, Steelers.